Welcome to the program. This, of course, is Stinchfield, the podcast. Listen to me and listen to me very carefully. Elon Musk is in great danger. I am watching the radical left, who we know has a history of violence. We've seen them try to kill President Trump too many times to count. I actually believe Elon Musk has taken over the top spot as the number one target for the left to assassinate. And I hate to even use those terms because I don't want to think of any political figure in the United States or beyond facing assassination over political views. But this is where the left goes, and this is what the left does. They can't win on policy. They can't win on their agenda. So if they're losing, they want to take you out. Look at what is happening to Tesla dealerships across the country. I mean, you're seeing this going on, and what? You got a situation when it comes to Tesla that they're literally burning down these Tesla dealerships. What's next? Elon Musk's life? What is he doing? He's upending the apple cart. That's to put it so nicely, by the way. What he's doing is stopping the grift. What he's doing is stopping the enrichment of those on the left. Their wealth that they have known has been a grift for a long time, going through NGOs and nonprofits and foreign countries, all funneling back to the deep state and the elite in this country. Elon has put a stop to that. So now I believe they want him dead. We're going to talk about that. I'll play some clips from Elon Musk, who apparently is in agreement with me as well when it comes to that. But before we do that, let me tell you about my friends over at Colonial Metals Group. Colonial Metals is getting it done when it comes to folks. Look, gold, again, is making all-time highs. It's going to continue to make all-time highs when we consider we face $36 trillion in debt. Now, this is, in my opinion, I'm not giving you financial advice, but here's what I will tell you. You need to talk to the guys at Colonial Metals about taking a portion of your 401k, making it a precious metals 401k or IRA. Why? Because it's about protecting your portfolio. When we face $36 trillion in debt and you have China and just about every central bank in the world buying up gold, that's telling you something. They're moving gold into the United States in record numbers. Why? Because it's a safe haven to hold it here in the United States, but they're keeping it. They're hoarding it. You should too. Follow the smart money, in my opinion. freegoldguide.com/Grant is the website I'd love for you to visit. freegoldguide.com/Grant. They'll send you one of those free gold guides. It's so helpful in helping you determine whether or not gold is right for you, or you can click the QR code up in the corner. 800-458-7356. 800-458-7356. Colonial Metals, getting it done for so many Stinchfield Army members. All right, with that, folks, let's get the show started.
Uncensored and unapologetic. This is Stinchfield. Here's your host, Grant Stinchfield.
All right, welcome to the program. It is great to have you along with me. I am so worried about Elon Musk. I'm worried about Elon Musk and his life. I'm worried about Elon Musk and his safety. I'm worried about Elon Musk and his companies. This, as he literally solidifies himself in my mind as an American hero. He goes up and rescues those astronauts, or his SpaceX does. And yet the left wants him destroyed. So Elon Musk went on with Sean Hannity last night. Let me play you some of that. And this is what sparked my thought that they want him dead, that he is enemy number one. And we know the left is capable of this. So I hope and pray Elon Musk has Secret Service protection. I hope he has his own security. I know he's spending a lot of time with the president. He's safe when he's with President Trump, because I know President Trump's security is tightened up to about as great as it's ever been. But what about when he's not with President Trump? I'm not sure he has Secret Service protection. I do think he needs it.
Countries. You're working on helping the blind see and all of these other things. Is it really come down to the basic, you're aligned with President Donald Trump, who also is a friend of mine, and that you have identified well over $100 billion in waste, fraud, abuse that our federal government never should have been spending? Is that what it comes down to?
Yeah, it turns out when you take away people's, what the money they're receiving fraudulently, they get very upset, and they basically want to kill me because I'm stopping their fraud.
It always comes back to money. Always, in everything. You can go to gangster movies, you can go to drug dealing. It always comes back to money. And there's no dirtier business than the game of politics, especially in America. People want to talk about Ukraine and Russia being corrupt nations. The United States is right up there with them. Hate to break the news to everybody. Yes, Ukraine is one of the most corrupt. Yes, Russia is one of the most corrupt. Yes, China and the CCP, they run the government like a mob boss. You don't think that's happening here in the United States? What do you think Joe Biden was? He was a mob boss. Basically, he wasn't the highest boss. You had Barack Obama and George Soros and the billionaire leftists that are calling shots. But this country's corrupt as it can be. And Elon Musk is exposing that. Of course, along with Elon Musk exposing it is President Trump. Don't get me wrong, President Trump is still in danger. But I think Elon has taken the top spot because of his boldness to go after the waste, fraud, and abuse inside government that was lining the pockets of these leftists.
And they want to hurt Tesla because we're stopping this terrible waste and corruption in the government. And, well, I guess they're bad people. Bad people will do bad things.
Look at the Tesla dealerships. This is set on fire in Las Vegas. So you better believe bad people do bad things. That's out of control, folks.
Well, I know that overall, financially, in the end, yes, they can hurt you, but the people that they'll end up hurting are the people that work in your dealerships that may risk losing their job. The people that they may end up hurting are the people that work on the line and build the Teslas.
Sean, nobody cares about those people, at least on the left. Certainly we do. Certainly I care about those people. Certainly Hannity and Elon cares about those people. You think these radical Antifa, Black Lives Matter loving lunatics care about good law-abiding Americans who work for Tesla? No. They could care less about those people. Elon.
They're going to be the ones hurt. And that to me is despicable on their part, just because they might have a political difference or perceived political difference.
Yeah, of course it's despicable. See, again, it gets back to this idea that if you can't win in politics, just kill your opponent. Just destroy your opponent. Financially ruin your opponent. Weaponize the courts against your opponent. We saw that against President Trump. I can't wait for the lawsuits. I mean, I can. But for the lawsuits to come hard and fast against Elon Musk. And they will. They will now use the courts against him. He's the world's richest man. You're not going to beat him. And you're not going to bankrupt him either. But it's not going to stop them from trying. I promise you that. Look at what he found. This is why they hate him.
One of the biggest scam fraud holes we've uncovered, which is really crazy, is that the government can give money to a so-called nonprofit with very few controls, and then there's no auditing subsequently of that nonprofit. So there's no. So this is where, with the 1.9 billion to Stacey Abrams, they then give themselves extremely lavish, like insane salaries, expense everything to the nonprofit. Buy jets and homes and all sorts of things.
Live like kings and queens.
Yes.
On the taxpayer dime.
Correct.
You hear what he's saying? That the nonprofit then buys jets. Now, this isn't even a nonprofit that's taking donor money, which is bad enough. This is nonprofits taking taxpayer money, being funded with taxpayer money. Many of these NGOs that was facilitating the trafficking of human beings into America, they're funded 75, 80% from the taxpayer money, literally ruining America. And we had Republicans up there who were totally signing off on this. Elon Musk is now exposing that. USAID, obviously, at the forefront of all of this, right? USAID, which they're trying to shutter. Judges now fighting back about not shuttering it. I want you to look at this clip that I found from an overseas news organization interviewing a woman in Africa. She didn't give him the answer that he was looking for here when it came to USAID.
Let me just ask you, if I look through the USAID programs, some of which have been cut off, in Congo, there's an aid group, Action Against Hunger. In Ethiopia, food assistance stopped for more than 1 million people. How is Africa feeling this moment?
We need to understand the real reason why USAID is in Africa. And not just USAID, but other NGOs. Their sole purpose was to act as if they're coming to rescue Africa. They are coming in claiming that they're introducing grassroots initiatives that are going to help the people, but they're actually wolf in sheep's clothing.
Oh, now, this was a former ambassador to the United States in Africa. She's saying USAID is a wolf in sheep's clothing. They're going to pretend they're all nice, but they're making inroads here. And I promise you the money coming in is getting filtered back to the elite, and they're using it as what? A pot of gold to line their own pockets. I don't think this was the answer this guy with Al Jazeera was hoping for. How are the people of Africa feeling right now when USAID and the money is cut off? Oh, did she have a rude awakening for this guy?
Their form of government advocacy is supporting whoever can keep the government in a turmoil. The American taxpayer needs to know the billions of dollars that are being given to USAID, a fraction is making it to the people. Let's look at what HIV/AIDS was used to do.
You see what she said? A fraction of the people are making it, a fraction of the money is making it to the people. When you spend billions and a fraction go to the people you're supposed to be helping, you got a real problem. Elon Musk is exposing that. It's why they want him dead, because you have to follow the money of who it's not going to. So it's not going to the people. Now let's follow where it is going. And I think you're going to see the John Kerrys of the world. I think Elizabeth Warren is steaming mad. She has a net worth tens of millions of dollars. Elizabeth Warren, this is supposed to be the great socialist. I think she's going to be exposed on this. You're going to see a lot of Democrats fall, and I think you're going to see some Republicans fall. This good old boy network in Washington that used taxpayer money as a gravy train, it's ending, and that's why they want Elon Musk not just out of the White House. They want him dead.
We know of a program that was run out of South Africa where they actually were injecting people with the virus. The reason some of the AIDS virus spread as rapidly as it did in Southern Africa, there were some very dirty games being played on African people. They were using Africans as guinea pigs for experimental activities. They're destroying African agriculture by introducing those GMOs. A little good is coming out, but by and large, the end result, they mean no good.
A little good comes out, but by and large, a lot of bad. That's from someone in Africa, former ambassador to the United States, basically laying it out. So again, as in the Rumble chat, always judge your actions by your enemy's response. We are on target. That from Uncle Cracker. We are on target. We are over the target. We got the target in our sights. Let's just hope their target, Elon Musk, isn't in their sights, legitimate sights. Our target is literally trying to expose them and then hold them accountable for this corruption that's been going on far too long in the United States. Elon Musk literally rescued astronauts. I'm going to show you a little bit of that. And what is Tim Walz' response? You know, Walz, and I'm going to play a little later in the program. Walz goes on with Gavin Newsom. But Tim Walz, the former vice presidential candidate with Kamala Harris, wait till what you hear him say about Elon Musk. These people are despicable. Folks, they are about as low as it gets. But we're on to them. And their approval rating is falling 29% for the Democrats. That's bad. Hey, let me tell you about my friends over at get20now.com. This is get up to 20% annualized interest rate on your investment paid out monthly. And this is very, very important. Paid out monthly. It's cash flow. So you make the investment. This is about Bitcoin mining. They have these unbelievably huge industrialized Bitcoin mining centers. Your investment goes to mine the Bitcoin. In return, they pay you up to 20% annualized interest on your money, and they direct deposit it into your account every month. I have invested with them a sizable amount, and every month, like clockwork, that money gets deposited back into my account. This is greatness. I had businesses for a long time, as many of you know. I don't have overhead now. I don't have employees to deal with. I don't have all the craziness. And I'm in the Bitcoin game without having to deal with the wild swings. I'm locked in to that interest rate. Right now, get up to 20% annualized. Folks, I'm telling you, where the stock market is, why wouldn't you want to do this? Get20now.com. NFN8 is the name of the company if you want to do your research. But get20now.com. Go out there, fill out the form, call them back when they call you, or answer the phone is even better. You're going to want to talk to them, I promise you. A lot of my Stinchfield's Army members are taking advantage of this great investment opportunity. All right, let's get back to Elon, as President Trump likes to say. Elon really is a hero. I don't know if you saw this, but man, it was cool.
And we're going to stand by for splashdown located in the Gulf of America off the coast of Tallahassee, Florida.
Here comes the splashdown. Rescued.
And splashdown. Crew 9 back on Earth.
After 9 months. They were supposed to be up there for 2 weeks. Max. 9 months. Elon goes up and gets them. Thank you, Elon.
Freedom, splashdown. Good main release.
Copy, splashdown. We see main chutes cut. Nick, Alex, Butch, Sunny, on behalf of SpaceX, welcome home.
What a great feeling that's got to be back home. So Elon goes and gets them. The left hates them. Why? Because the left left them stranded up there. Joe Biden had an offer from Elon Musk. Hey, do you want us to go get him? Joe Biden said no.
Relates to Elon Musk has said that he made the offer to bring you guys back earlier and that it was denied. My first question is that true? And if so, what would that have looked like? Was he offering to make another flight, push seats on another flight? Could you give us some background there?
I can only say that Mr. Musk, what he says is absolutely factual. We have no information on that, though, whatsoever. What was offered, what was not offered, who it was offered to, how that process went. That's information that we simply don't have. So I believe him. I don't know all those details, and I don't think any of us really can give you the answer that you would be hoping for.
Can you imagine? You're stuck in space. First off, I would go crazy, all right? Like, I don't want to be an astronaut. Never one of my dreams, by the way. I don't want to be an astronaut. I don't want to be a miner, okay? I don't want to go into tunnels. I don't want to be a cave diver, cave dweller, cave anything. I don't like closed-in spaces, all right? So these guys are up there, stuck up there for 9 months. I would think you'd get claustrophobic as all get out. Elon goes and saves them. I mean, that's the kind of thing we're talking about. And what is Tim Walz's response to all this? You know, this is Kamala Harris's great buddy. This is despicable, by the way.
Saying on my phone, I don't know, some of you know this on the iPhone, they've got that little stock app. I added Tesla to it to give me a little boost during the day. 225 and dropping. So, and if you own one, we're not blaming you. You can take dental floss and pull the Tesla thing off, and take out, just telling you.
You want the stock to drop. So for all the workers who work at Tesla, for all the Americans that have invested in it, you want it to drop. And then you're basically telling anyone who owns a Tesla to take off the Tesla logo, which is pretty ridiculous in and of itself. There was a website that is out. I was going to pull it up here, but let me just read it to you because It is literally despicable. You know, as I talk about this, I think I can email it to myself and put it up on the screen because I want you to see this. This is so bad. It's a website that doxes Tesla owners and then basically says to them, hey, go find these people and destroy their Teslas. Literally go find them. Let me see if I can pull it up. I was supposed to pull it up here earlier. Is this it? No, this isn't it. That's not it. Hold on a second. Did I not send it? Oh, I didn't send it. This is it. It's amazing to me that you have people out there that want to expose anybody who owned a Tesla. Now, last I checked, liberals owned these freaking Teslas, right? Yes. And so you're gonna go destroy their Tesla? They're not responsible for Elon Musk's actions. Not that there's anything wrong with Elon Musk's actions. All right, I have it. You ready? I don't know if you can look at the screen close. This says Doge Quest. Look at this. Facebook shut my freaking live stream down, folks. Your live video has ended because it may contain music, audio, or video that belongs to someone else. What belongs to somebody else? I'm playing sound bites. This is why, folks, it's such a battle. I'm telling you, it is such a battle with these big social media companies. Facebook, literally as we speak, just dumped my live stream. Why? Because I'm talking about Elon Musk. Forget this Zuckerberg thing where he's all like pro-free speech now. Give me a break. What have I played here? Was it the SpaceX splashdown? I promise you SpaceX would be happy that I put that up there. What did I play that contained music from somebody else? Nothing. Oh, man, it's maddening. All right, back to this Doge Quest situation. Here we go. This is the website. Elon tweeted this out or X'd it out, whatever you call it. Doge Quest is the ultimate hub for enthusiasts of the Department of Government Efficiency. Our innovative platform allows users to explore an interactive map of Doge landmarks. But that's not all. We cater to Tesla Motors owners, providing a comprehensive resource to locate nearly every service center, showroom, and charging station at their fingertips. Leveraging our cutting-edge artificial intelligence algorithms, Doge Quest goes a step further by connecting like-minded Tesla owners with one another, facilitating a vibrant community through shared contact information. All right, that sounds okay. But how about this? Is Doge Quest a platform to protest? If you're on the hunt for a Tesla to unleash your artistic flair with a spray can, just step outside, no map needed. At Doge Quest, we believe in empowering creative expressions of protest that you can execute from the comfort of your own home. Doge Quest neither endorses nor condemns any actions. Now, I can tell you right now, I condemn any protest action that's going to destroy property. I don't want you going and destroying the property of liberals. I don't want you going outside of Facebook's headquarters and defacing their property just because they knocked my live stream off right now. That's not how we operate. We operate with words, but not these Antifa lunatics. At Doge Quest, before you embark on any adventure, we highly recommend checking out the No Trace Project. This is another link, I guess, to hide your actions. Can I mirror this website? Of course, you could basically copy the website, they say, because they know this website's going to be taken down as they dox Tesla owners so you can go attack and key their cars. Screw them, man. I'm telling you, it's bad. We're at a point in time in America where I don't know who these people are, what they're doing, why they're doing it. But to me, quite honestly, it's pretty frightening where we are. All right, I want to turn to these radical judges. But before I talk about them, folks, let me tell you about my friends at energizedhealth.com. I love Energized Health. Look at this, all right? I'm 56 years old. The left, bring it, baby. All right, I'm in the best shape of my life. Not that I want to fight, but Tim Walz apparently says he can kick the ass of Trump supporters. He's only 4 years older than me. Bring it, Tim Walls. This is because of Energized Health. My muscle mass is up. My body fat is down. All because I've gotten hydrated at a cellular level. This is what the Energized Health program is all about. I want you to go to energizedhealth.com/Grant. Do it today. Learn about intercellular hydration. Change your life, all right? My testosterone is up. My cholesterol is down. I didn't have to go on any wacky diet. No crazy workout plans. Literally a scientific protocol I got the patents pending for, that they're going to get you in the shape of your life. And quite frankly, it's easy. And I hate saying it's easy. Does it take some dedication? Yes. Is it easy? Yes. Energizedhealth.com/Grant. You want to take your life back. You want to lose 250 pounds, or if you want to be like me, lose 15 pounds. I'd lost it in 2 weeks on the 88-day program, and that's how long the program is. It's 88 days. 2 weeks, I lost 15 pounds. Kept it off. It's great stuff. Energizedhealth.com/Grant. Pay them a visit. All right. So we know that President Trump is exporting, we'll call it, the prisoners, and I'm glad they are. These guys, get them the hell out of here. MS-13 gang members, Tren de Aragua, going to El Salvador. Well, the judge is all ticked off about that. The judge, Borsberg, is a radical. And I'm going to tell you why he's a radical. Thanks to our friends Julie Kelly, thanks to our friends Laura Loomer, they have uncovered some unbelievable things about this Borsberg character. First off, take a look at this. The judge involved in this battle, there he is right there on your screen, is a radical liberal appointed by Obama. He was on the FISA court that approved the Trump team surveillance. Now, they all should have been impeached for that reason, because that surveillance was illegal, and I believe the judges were engaged in treasonous behavior to take over America. So if you want to impeach him on something, that's the way to impeach him. Now, Judge Roberts says, Supreme Court leader says, you can't just go around impeaching judges for their rulings. I agree with him. I also agree with President Trump's frustrations, but I don't want to get to a point where once we get a Democrat in office, God forbid, they're going to go impeaching President Trump's appointments for their rulings that happen to be based on the Constitution. We get into a really slippery slope if we start impeaching judges based on their rulings. But if you want to impeach a judge for something, you impeach a judge for taking part in a coup. That is treason. This FISA court warrant that they gave to President Trump on him during the 2016 campaign, that was treasonous, and I believe these judges knew that they were engaging in treason. That is an impeachable offense. Now, the reality is you're not going to get them impeached. Not right now. Not with this Senate, not with the makeup. It's not going to happen. Now, what else do we know about this judge, thanks to our friends? We know that the judge's daughter happens to be on an NGO that basically, hold on one second. Let me see if I can get it here. I thought I had it. No, let me see. This is the judge's daughter. She works for Partners for Justice, according to Laura Loomer, who's done some great work. Look at her pronouns. She, her, okay? Then you've got the person who runs Partners for Justice, which is literally a illegal immigration advocacy group advocating for illegal immigration. This is the head of that, Emily Galvin Almanza. Trump administration live updates. Judge orders halt on deportation of Venezuelans under wartime law. Emily happens to be the boss of the judge's daughter. Now, if you're telling me this judge shouldn't remove himself, I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, This is about as despicable as it gets when it comes to a bias, when it comes to a conflict of interest. And then there's more on this judge. This judge gets even worse.
Now, Bossberg, as I've written, handled about 70 J6 cases. He threw, to your point, even American citizens convicted, either pleaded guilty or convicted by a DC jury of the most low-level petty offense, like parading in the Capitol, threw them in federal prison on that. Now, there was one J6er, Benny, that Judge Bossberg didn't throw the book at, that he demonstrated deep level of sympathy for, and that was Ray Epps.
Oh, I knew it was coming. You know what? We have
Ray Epps. Ray Epps. You all know who Ray Epps is. Ray Epps was the instigator on J6. Let's go into the Capitol. Go into the Capitol. Never really charged anything. I think ultimately he got a light slap on the wrist after a lot of cries from those on the right. But widely believed to be a plant of the federal government. So Boasberg goes soft on Ray Epps, Julie Kelly,
because I knew it was coming.
You knew it was coming.
This is the guy. That's unbelievable. So this is the guy that let Ray Epps off.
And not only did he let off Ray Epps, Benny, and I posted this, I actually had bought the transcript of the sentencing hearing last year, and I just dug it up. Not only did he only give Ray Epps probation, he expressed all sort of sympathy for Ray Epps, how he was a victim of so-called conspiracy theories. But more importantly, and I just posted this on X, he called January 6th an insurrection incited by Trump supporters. None of these judges should be presiding over any lawsuit related to the Trump administration. With exception of maybe 2 or 3, every single DC district court judge has, on multiple occasions, expressed their contempt for Donald Trump and his supporters. They should be immediately disqualified. Now, of course, you can move you can ask to disqualify those judges, for them to recuse. Yesterday, the DOJ did ask the clerk of the DC appellate court to remove Judge Bossberg from this case and assign it to another judge. What judge? They're all going to do the same thing he is. It's a nice motion. It's a nice attempt, but it's hard. You're not going to get an improvement in that courthouse.
No. The left was really smart. They made sure they got these radical activist judges in D.C., and in D.C. for a reason, not just to go after the J6ers, but they knew as a barrier to President Trump, future victory. And they were concerned that President Trump was going to win. We all know he did now. They were concerned about it. So they made sure they put the most radical judges possible in the Washington, D.C. circuit, because they knew all of these laws would come to D.C. They would be challenged in D.C. You'd have radical Trump-hating judges in D.C. that would rule however the left wanted them to rule. So now let's review this again. You have Judge Bossberg, who was on the FISA court that ordered the spying of the Trump team, on the Trump team during the 2016 election. You had Judge Bossberg sentence like 76 J6ers to long time in prison, and he let Ray Epps go, and he called this an insurrection, clearly biased against President Trump, when it was nothing more than, as I've called it, an unorganized tour of the Capitol. Then you have Bossberg's daughter working for a pro-illegal immigration NGO that literally fights for the, quote, rights of illegal aliens. She works for that organization, and you got Bossberg shutting this deportation situation down. Then you have allegations about his brother-in-law that had worked for Bain Capital and friends that go to work for Diddy and all these other connections. See, all these leftists run together. This judge needs to recuse himself. He can't be fair in this. And even more than that, the Supreme Court needs to have some fucking balls. Excuse my language. I don't often curse, but I am mad about the Supreme Court that they do not have the cojones to take up cases. This idea that district court judges can decide laws for the entire country is so out of line and so out of control. As President Trump points out, they're unelected officials that should not be dictating law across the country. At the very least, or I should say at the very most, district court judges' rulings should only apply to the district they oversee. You want to ban deportations? Then ban deportations from the district you oversee. But the Supreme Court needs to weigh in on this. There were two cases that went up the line to the Supreme Court. They punted both of those cases. They could have nipped this in the bud, and they could have done it very, very quickly. So now the question becomes, should President Trump just ignore these laws? I don't like that idea. And you know what? President Trump doesn't like it either. We have courts for a reason. We're a rule of law party. As much as I want to ignore unconstitutional, out of line, illegal rulings by judges, I think you've got to take the process and move it up the court system. That's our system in America. You've got to abide by it. We've got to be better than the left. We've got to lead by example. President Trump agrees.
You say to that, are there circumstances where you would defy a court order?
Well, I think that, number one, nobody's been through more courts than I have. I think nobody knows the courts any better than I have. I would say the chief judge does, but nobody knows them better than I have. And what they've done to me, I've had the worst judges. I've had crooked judges. I have judges that valued Mar-a-Lago at $18 million because that benefited his case, because he wanted to see me convicted of something. I have judges that were had relatives making millions and millions of dollars on the election, ruling on the election.
But going forward,
I had judges
would
that
you
were
defy
so
a court
corrupt.
order? Because that we all know that, and that was outrageous.
I never did defy a court order.
And you wouldn't in the future?
No, you can't do that. However, we have bad judges. We have very bad judges, and these are judges that shouldn't be allowed. I think at a certain point you have to start looking at what do you do when you have a rogue judge. The judge that we're talking about, you look at his other rulings, I mean, rulings unrelated, but having to do with me, he's a lunatic.
I love this president. Bosberg is a lunatic. And I do believe, here's what we need to focus in on, and not a lot of people are talking about it. Him serving on the FISA court that ordered the warrants, the surveillance on President Trump's campaign. That was an attempted coup. You want to go after him, go after him for that. The reality is it's going to be a waste of time. You need overwhelming majority in the Senate to get a conviction. I think it's 2/3 to convict somebody of impeachment. You're not going to get 2/3 of these senators in the United States Senate. So let's focus on winning elections. All right, so we can get more Republicans to put more judges into office. Republican judges, strong conservative judges. But again, this goes back to this this alien act of 17 whatever. It's an old act. The media's flipping out that President Trump's using it. Tom Homan said this.
You say to those who claim you're using a 200-year-old law to circumvent due process?
An old law? Not as old as the Constitution. We still pay attention to that, don't we?
But some would say this is...
How many more terrorists do you plan on deporting?
I love this guy, too. Organizations take on the mentality of its leader. President Trump, clearly the leader of the Trump administration, and he's put people around him that think and act and respond like he does. Stephen Miller is another one who is so smart. I'm going to play a little bit of him for you, but I want you to see what we are up against. This is this radical congresswoman. I'm gonna play her, Ilhan Omar, talking about what she wants to do to overturn President Trump's actions.
It is hard to imagine anything more un-American than that. The Trump administration's immigration policy is a threat to immigrants like criminals. America is too great to fall prey to Donald Trump's anti-immigrant agenda. We need to restore basic humanity to our immigration system, and that starts with repealing the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, with Our Neighbors Not Enemies Act.
That's ridiculous. You see what the Democrats are doing. Again, they're defending MS-13 gang members. They're defending evil people like this. They're defending violent rapists, murderers, drug dealers, pimps that will destroy your family, if not kill your loved ones. Why would you defend these people? Again, the Democrats, these leaders, are on the wrong side of this. And they're on the wrong side in a very, very big way. My buddy Congressman Tim Burchett was on with CNN, and he handed it to them. Again, CNN defending these illegal alien violent felons.
But so no matter what a judge
and he's
says,
taking the side, he's taking the side of a bunch of criminals.
He hasn't taken any. He hasn't taken any side yet, Congressman. He hasn't taken any side yet. All he's done is put a stay on the White House action here, so that he can review their use of their novel use, frankly, of the.
That's biased. Their novel use. That's not for you to interject if you're a newsman. You're an anchor man on a daytime show. You're supposed to be unbiased. You and your whiny little sniffling self are the exact quintessential picture of what a liberal looks like. And the novel use, quote, is once again 100% indisputable proof that you're biased against President Trump.
Alien enemies.
Oh, come on. These guys, listen. These guys, the difference between God and these judges is God knows he's not one of these judges. They're arrogant. They practice this type of thing all the time. And if you had a conservative one doing it, you all would be raising total hell. But because it's a left-winger and it's standing and you all take that side.
This isn't a question about the
you all
media.
would take the
This
side
isn't
of a bunch
a
of
question about the
murderers.
media. No one's taking a side here. Congressman,
yes,
no
you
one's
are.
taking a side here.
He is not.
I'm asking you about the Constitution. Is asking about the Constitution. Is asking about the Constitution taking a side. All I'm asking you is about the Constitution, what you think of it, and what you would advise this White House and your feeling about judicial rulings. And that seems to be upsetting you. I'm just trying to get your position on this and what you would advise the White House going forward.
It's not upsetting. I guess what upsets me is that you all at CNN continuously take the side of the far left, and that's why your ratings continue to plummet. And I do not ever understand why y'all do that. Every time. I know you got to take the opposite side on everything, but you all are wrong on this one. Listen, this is a gang that took over an apartment complex in Colorado. They murdered people. They are criminals.
We're trying to understand.
They
Now,
are
you can
criminals.
argue.
They are not
You
American
can argue.
citizens. Quit taking their side, CNN. What is wrong with you all? You are so out of touch with what's 85% of this country does not support what you are spewing out right now.
We haven't spewed. The only one spewing is the guy who's talking uninterrupted right now.
How long does it take him to review this stuff? How long does it take him to review this stuff? These judges, he'll sit on his ass for months so these criminals can stay in this country. This is all this is. This is overreach. And I'll guarantee you, if his kids had been murdered or raped, as has happened in this country to several American citizens by these thugs, that he would be taking a different position. But he's protected. You all protect him. You all have got to come off this. Seriously, I don't know how you all sleep at night when you protect criminals, murderers,
Congressman,
and rapists.
can I ask you to stop for 1 second here? I think if you go through and analyze.
You know what? I'm going to ask that idiot to stop for a second. Congressman Burchett is right. He doesn't take any crap from anybody. And this whining little guy doesn't know what to say because Congressman Burchett is correct. CNN does take the side of criminals, whack jobs, and Looney Tunes. Literally every single day of the week. And it is why their ratings are faltering and failing. They ought to bring some conservatives on the program to host some shows there. And I promise you their ratings would go up through the roof. Now, I don't want any more competition for Real America's Voice. But honestly, CNN and MSNBC ought to revamp it. Elon Musk ought to go buy both of those networks, combine it into one, and make it a super conservative station. It would kill it, by the way. But you want a super conservative station? Go to Real America's Voice. Folks, we got a big viewership today. I'd just like to ask you, please hit the subscribe button to my channel, Grant Stinchfield, here on Rumble. If you're watching, we just got kicked off of Facebook Live as we were doing this live stream. Facebook kicked us off, literally. So please subscribe here if you would, and if you can, copy the link, share it on your social media platforms to keep the voice going. But Congressman Burchett doing a fabulous job here. To take the fight back to CNN Now, this whole Alien Enemies Act, they are so afraid of it. So again, CNN doing everything they can do to call us into question. This is Stephen Miller who went on with CNN.
So you called the judge's order just earlier today, quote, patently unlawful, end quote, and said that it was an assault on democracy itself. Does that mean that the administration is ignoring this order, and might you ignore future court orders that meet the criteria you laid out?
The President of the United States and his administration reserve all rights under the Constitution to conduct national security operations in defense of the United States. The Alien Enemies Act, which was passed into law by the founding generation of this country, men like John Adams, was written explicitly to give the President the authority to repel an alien invasion of the United States. That is not something that a district court judge has any authority whatsoever to interfere with, to enjoin, to restrict, or to restrain any way. You can read the law yourself. There's not one clause in that law that makes it subject to judicial review, let alone district court review.
So, Stephen,
I want you to listen to this part, because this is the very important part to show you how unprepared TV, I don't even want to call them news anchors are, but how unprepared these teleprompter readers are. They don't know the law. They don't know how to read legislation, and I'm going to prove it to you here.
When you say that this person has no authority at all, this is how our system works. It starts with these judges and then continues up. At what point does it become, in your view, legal for the justice system to be looking at this and making a judgment? And I fail to see how there's any other way but to start with where we're starting here before you get to eventually the Supreme Court.
Well, so first of all, there's a term in law, justiciable. This is not justiciable. In other words, this is not subject to judicial remedy. When the president is exercising his Article II powers to defend the country against an invasion or to repel a foreign terrorist that is unlawfully in the country, he's exercising his core Article II powers as commander-in-chief.
Is Venezuela invading the U.S.?
This is a very important point. This is a Title 50 authority. It's a commander-in-chief authority. So just to ask you a simple question, you talk about how the system works. Does a district court judge have the right to direct or enjoin troop movements overseas? Yes or no?
Well, Stephen, my question, if you could answer my question first,
in other words,
is Venezuela invading our country in a way that would apply this way?
So I'll answer yours and you'll answer mine. Under the terms of the statute, Tren de Aragua is an alien enemy force that has come here as detailed at length in the proclamation at the direction of the Venezuelan government. The statute says that a president has the ability to repel an invasion or predatory incursion that is directed by a foreign
state
government.
or a government, right? Are they a state or a government?
Here's where she gets it so wrong, because she does not know how to read legislation, all right? So I'm letting this play, but I'm letting it play for a reason. You can see the difference in intellect from Stephen Miller compared to this woman that is on, Cassie something, I think her name is. So the difference here is stark, and now he's going to prove she has no idea what she's talking about and no idea how to read basic rule of law.
Yes, it is documented that TDA was sent by the Venezuelan government in the proclamation. And here's an even more important point. Under the Constitution, who makes that determination? A district court judge elected by no one, or the commander-in-chief of the Army and Navy? The president and the president alone makes a decision of what triggers that determination.
So do you then think
in
we
statute.
are actually at war with Venezuela, the nation state of Venezuela?
You're not hearing me and you're not understanding me. Read the statute. Alien Enemies Act, 1798. It says if a predatory incursion is perpetrated by a foreign government, so it lists three qualifying actions. It could be an act of war.
It does say in the very beginning there has to be a declared war against a nation or a state. That's what it says.
No, wrong. Look up the statute. It's on my account on social media.
That's actually where we
Everyone
found
can
it
go see it. Yes. It says or a predatory incursion or an invasion. The statute delineates three criteria.
All right. Do you hear what he's saying? She doesn't understand the difference between and which would mean you have two things that must be a must, and or. You can have one or the other. Now, that's what this act says here. So the Alien Enemies Act, I'm going to pause this on the screen and read it to you. Any invasion or predatory incursion is perpetrated, attempted, or threatened against the territory of the United States by any foreign nation or government. What they don't list here is the very, very beginning. It's small here, but you can look at it on your screen. Section 1, to be extended by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of Congress assembled, that whenever there shall be a declared war between the United States and any foreign nation or government, here it is, or any invasion or predatory incursion. So a declared war or an invasion or predatory incursion. Does anyone argue that Tren de Aragua and MS-13 for that matter is not a predatory invasion and incursion? Of course it is. But again, this woman does not know how to read law and doesn't apparently know the difference between and or.
Triggering the Alien Enemies Act. One is an act of war, which, by the way, an invasion is an act of war, but put that aside. One is an invasion, which this is. One is a predatory incursion, which this is. So it actually meets all three statutory criteria. But with respect to this particular statute, the proclamation is utilizing the incursion and invasion language in the statute. But this is a very important question, because no, hold on. It's a very important question. You said the way our system works is the President of the United States commands the armed forces of the country, commands the foreign policy of the country, and that's subject to district court review. That is fundamentally untrue.
I never said that, Stephen. I did not say.
That has never been true.
This was not a military operation.
A district court judge can no more enjoin the expulsion of foreign terrorists to foreign soil that he can direct the movement of Air Force One, that he can direct the movement of an aircraft carrier, that he can direct Marco Rubio to engage in diplomacy in a country or not.
Do you think the Supreme Court has any say over this or not? Does the Supreme Court of the United States have any say over the things that you were just outlining right here?
I believe what the Supreme Court will say is what I just said, which is that the president's conduct here is not subject to judicial review.
Okay, but you are acknowledging that they do, in fact, have a say here, even though you think they may agree with you.
What we are expecting is the Supreme Court to say what has always been the case, which is when the president is using his powers as commander-in-chief, those determinations are not subject to judicial review.
This is exhausting. And you know why it's exhausting? Because she's trying to make the argument that because the Supreme Court weighs in, that's why there's a process going through the district courts. But what Stephen Miller is saying is, yes, the Supreme Court has to weigh in to tell the lower court, you're out of line. You don't have a right to weigh in here. So get out of the way. Now, will the Supreme Court do this? With John Roberts, I'm not sure. Amy Coney Barrett, I'm not sure either. You know, she is an issue and a problem as well. I don't know what her issue is with President Trump and why she's starting to move to the left. But I do believe in the end, the Supreme Court needs to take this up and say, you know what, district judges can't do this. And again, at the very least, my solution is a simple one. And I don't know how anybody can argue with it. That if you're a district judge, your ruling is only for the district you are in, not for the entire nation. I don't want a district in New York City ruling for me in Texas. Doesn't make any sense, quite frankly, at all. All right. Folks, let me tell you about my friends over at Patriot Mobile. PatriotMobile.com/Grant. I have Patriot Mobile as my service provider on my cell phone, and I'm so happy. It's the official provider of Stinchfield's Army. 100% U.S.-based customer service. More than that, they back so many of my fellow conservative commentators. They enable us to get the voice out to all of you, and for that I am ever grateful to Patriot Mobile. They're America's only, quote, Christian conservative wireless provider. I believe in parallel economies. I believe in supporting companies that support the things we do. You use the same network you're on now, okay? So you can choose between the three big networks. That's huge. You're not going to sacrifice service that way. You're going to gain in customer service. There is no reason for you to be with the big three cell phone companies. You're not going to sacrifice service, I promise you. Switching is so easy now with these electric SIM numbers, these eSIM numbers. You literally call them up, switch your phone right away, and you're done. And you know you're not funding a woke agenda anymore. So here's the website, patriotmobile.com/grant. patriotmobile.com/grant. Use the promo code GRANT for a free month service. That's a big savings. Or call them at 972-PATRIOT, 972-PATRIOT, and tell them that Grant Stinchfield sent you. All right. Tim Walz, he goes on with Gavin Newsom. This guy, I'll tell you what, I'm not one, I told you I don't promote violence unless it's in the name of charity, okay? I want you to take a look at Tim Walz, and then I want you to take a look at me. And I want you to try to take a guess. You know what we'll do in the Rumble chat? I want you to watch this clip of Tim Walz and then tell me how old you think he is. Don't Google it, all right? Don't cheat.
How do you fight it?
But how old?
Well, this
I
notion
think
of
I could kick most of their ass. I do think that if they wanted to. I know I can outrun them, but I don't know if we're going to fall into that place where we want to. Okay, we challenge you to a WWE fight here type of thing.
He said he could kick my ass, your ass, Trump supporters. He says he can kick our ass. So how old do you think that guy is? All right. Again, I'll play it one more time for you. How old do you think Tim Walz?
How do you fight it?
This
I
notion
think
of
I could kick most of their ass. I do think that if they wanted to. I know I can outrun them, but I don't know if we're going to fall into that place where we want to. Okay,
kick his ass. Give me a break. It's ridiculous. Whose ass you're going to kick? Nobody. Anyway, he's 60 years old. I'm 56 years old. You know what, Tim Walz? Let's go. I'll challenge you to a WWE style cage match. Maybe we do it MMA style. I don't know. Craig Muttley says 58. To me, the guy looks like he's 70, man. I don't know. You think that looks 82, says Sunshine. Exactly, Sunshine.
We challenge
this
you
guy
to
looks a lot older than 58. He looks a lot older than 60, which is what he is. So I say, let's go. Now, Tim Walz has a nickname, Tampon Tim. You don't get the nickname Tampon Tim for being a manly kind of guy, all right? The big knock on him was his masculinity. A lot of us think that he may be gay. Nothing wrong with that. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. But a lot of us think that he may be gay. To quote Seinfeld, not that there's anything wrong with that. But don't try to be a manly guy, all right? He talked about masculinity on this program. Listen.
And it's not that I spend much time thinking about this, and it just baffled me how much time they spent trying to attack me that I wasn't like masculine enough in their vision. Like I would have never believed this. I saw Fox News did like a couple days because I used a straw. And I'm like, hell, man, what am I? How else do you drink a milkshake type of thing? But they.
So, you're complaining we don't think you're masculine. And then you tell us that you're drinking a milkshake, which I'm sure milkshakes are very tasty. But as a 100% heterosexual male, alpha male at that, I'm not drinking a lot of milkshakes. And quite frankly, if you use a straw, especially in a bar, and I hope you're not drinking rum and Coke with a little straw, singing, hey, you want to step outside? I'm going to defend my girlfriend? Drinking a little straw. You're not tough drinking a straw. All right, that's the bottom line. You're not tough with a nickname Tampon Tim because you decided to put tampons in men's rooms for your transgender maniacs. So no, we don't think you're manly, Tim Walz, and you just proved it to us.
They focused on it obsessively, which I think, again, is their obsession, their weirdness. We buy their frame on these issues of sexuality, but their whole thing is that they spent all their time, these guys, on Fox News, that Walz is gay, he's not masculine, he doesn't coach football the way he should, or doesn't. What do you think about this? I mean,
it's what
this misogyny in here that's happening.
Yeah, well,
misogyny. So you're mad that men are calling you weak? Because you are weak. You put tampons in men's rooms, okay? That's ridiculous. You use stupid pronouns. It's ridiculous. You want to call yourself a man, yet you drink milkshakes out of a straw and you parade around dressed in drag. Remember that picture? Of course we're going to call you weak and a wuss bag and feminine because you are, Tim Walz, because you are. Has nothing to do with misogyny. It has to do with the truth.
But this notion of masculinity is deeply part of it. And that's one of the, I mean, I think it goes, and you can look at the reasons why we've had this sort of dialectic over the Me Too movement. We've had this dialectic even prior to the Me Too movement. This notion
of fight it.
This
I
notion
think
of
I could kick most of their ass. I do think that if they wanted to. I know I can outrun them, but I don't know if we're going to fall into that place where we want to. Okay, we challenge you to a WWE fight here type of thing.
No,
counter
but
it
it's a natural reaction. I think it's one of the reasons we're losing so many men. And again, it's multi-ethnic. It's not just white men. We're losing them. We're losing them to these guys online. We're losing them people that I'm bringing on this podcast as well. That's why I brought.
These are bad guys, though. These are bad guys.
But they exist, and we could deny they exist. They exist. Not only they exist, they persist. And they're.
He's talking about us. So specifically, I'm sure he's talking about Charlie Kirk and Steve Bannon, two of my friends. Overall, he's talking about me and many of the other people you watch on Rumble and other places like that. Bad guys? Why am I a bad guy? Because I call you feminine? Because I don't like your policies? Because I don't want you pushing transgender nonsense on my kids? I call you a bad guy because you want to increase taxes on everybody? You want to fleece the American citizen? You want to open up our borders to allow illegal and very violent, dangerous gang members to come in and wreak havoc on our society? Yes, you want to keep a revolving door of our prisons where you'd rather let them go with no bail than put them behind bars to keep America safe from them. You want to put more regulations on American companies to basically stifle them so badly that they lose their breath and go out of business. Yes, this makes me the bad guy. If anybody's a bad guy, Walz, it's you. And you want to call us bad? And so you better believe we're taking men, whatever men you had left in the Democrat Party, you better believe we're taking them back over to this side because they see what the rest of America sees. That you and your party and Gavin Newsom, no matter how much he tries to befriend us, you're out of touch with where America is. It's why you lost the election. It's why Democrats are at 29% approval rating right now, because you're completely out of touch, delusional about where America is headed compared to where you want it to go.
Actually influencing young kids every single day.
How do we push some of those guys back under a rock?
I think we have to first.
Under a rock? Let's go, Tim Walz. Let's go. You want to say you can kick asses? Let's go. Seriously, we can do it for charity. We can do it for profit. I'll put the money up. Let's just do it a straight, flat-ass bet, okay? You're not pushing me under a rock. I'm not going easily, man. Now, I don't even know why this guy gets me so upset, because he's a loser. He really is. He's a flat-ass loser. But he's the one who started it. He did.
Understand what their motivations are. I think we have to understand what they're actually doing. And
you don't
I think
that's
important.
Racism and misogyny?
I think there's a lot of that, but I don't think it's exclusively that. When you talk to a guy like Steve Bannon, he reminded me a little bit of my grandfather when he talks about working folks and he talks about how we hollowed out the industrial core of this country.
But he
I understand that. But we can dismiss the notion of.
But he denies the election. Guess what, you mother scratcher? We proved it. The last election proved it. There's no way Joe Biden got 80 million votes the last time around. And you know it. All of this is bad. I'm not playing any more of that. I got to get ready for the Real America's Voice show tonight. Please, folks, again, if you're watching on Rumble, subscribe to the channel. It's really helpful for me. Download the app as well, too. The app will give you notifications when we go up live. That's super, super helpful. And by the way, before I leave you, I want to tell you about my friends over at the Wellness Company, twc.health/grant. Where is it? Here it is. There's the website. This is one of the Wellness Company's kits. They've got these prescription medications in here, including ivermectin. Ivermectin still in some parts of the country hard to get. All made out to me. A doctor will call you. There's no worry about being allergic to stuff. They're going to make sure you get the medications that you need in these kits. Fabulous. There's one of these big-time prepper kits as well. This is waterproof. It's got even more EpiPen in here. I love the wellness company, and I love that I'm able to keep my family safe with these prescription medications. TWC.health/grant. TWC.health/grant. Use the promo code GRANT for 10% off, and I promise you, you will not regret it. Should I just do this for fun one last time, just to get me real fired up before we go?
And you know what their attitude is? I made my money all by myself. How dare your government take my money from me? I don't want to pay taxes. Or, I built my company with my bare hands. How dare your government tell me how I should treat my customers, my the land and water that I own, or my employees? They hate government. Government's a barrier to people, a barrier to stop them from doing things. They want to destroy it. We are not letting them do it, and we're united.
Okay, good.
Not a very good applause. And yes, you're spot on, Chuck Schumer. We despise government that wants to create barriers for us to success, that want to limit opportunity for everyone, and yes, that want to tax us out the bejesus, okay? So yeah, and I find it very hypocritical that Chuck Schumer is screaming and yelling about entrepreneurship and how evil it is when this is a guy who sits there collecting taxpayer money on the government dime, never really worked a day in his life except inside government, only working against the American people every step of the way, and that's what you're crying about? How dare you? Well, that's not really the most upbeat way to end a program. So I'm just going to end it this way. Thank you to Stinchfield's Army. We roll because of you. Please, again, subscribe to the channel here on Rumble. If you're watching on Getter, subscribe there too. You can't be watching on Facebook because they shut us down today, literally in the middle of our stream. That should tell you all you need to know about Facebook. What a despicable social media outlet that is. Love Rumble, though. We're on X as well. Love them there too. Finally, some free speech. God bless all of you. We're going to talk about a lot of this tonight on the program. Plus, President Trump had his call with Vladimir Zelensky, talking about his talk with Putin. Where's that headed? And tonight, I will get into the JFK files on the Real America's Voice show. We've got an expert on that. They have released some of them. Any blockbusters here? I don't know. There's some interesting things. I've saw CIA involvement. I've seen Russian involvement, all kinds of stuff. I'm not sure it really answers any questions other than confirming that the government was looking into the same conspiracy theories that we believe were true or could be true. So we'll go through that on the show tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time on Real America's Voice. Stinchfield 1776, folks, is the way to find me, or the website, GrantStinchfield.com, GrantStinchfield.com. Thanks for watching, everybody. Stinchfield's Army rolls. See you soon.